Nick's mum would be, like somebody that like is kind to you and looks out for you and you know, is just a good person kind of thing. And yeah, I don't know. Also, my mum didn't make my lunches, by the way, Krim. I made my own school lunches. That was a requirement. As soon as we were able to comprehend what we were doing, we made our own. So yeah, that kind of thing was never a prerequisite for a mother. But yeah, she was very much like a second mum, like the kind of like a mum that I didn't have in a workplace, which is kind of nice. Just very sweet. You know, different kind of workplaces. Like, I've had all kinds of fucking workplaces. Some places people are like absolutely the most vile trash you can encounter. Some places they're as cold as possible, like they don't even want to know each other. Other places it's really sweet. Some places they have that term that they like to throw around, you know, family. Those are the worst. Yeah, I don't know. I've had a variety. I'm pretty sure this is the end here again. I keep hitting too many walls. I'm only behind by like 2 seconds. I'll give it another go. I don't mind this yellow and blue car beside me. It's either buy lunches or go to friend's place and make lunch there. So we kind of had, like, every Monday, we'd be given, like, a little bit of money for tuck shop. And we were allowed to, like, get whatever we basically wanted within that value for tuck shop. And it was not much. It was, like, only, like, $2 or something like that. But back then, $2 went fucking far. You could get yourself a whole fucking smorgasbord of food and candy and desserts and everything. It was a great time. But anyway, you get, like, $2. You have to get whatever you could get with lunch with that. And, yeah, the rest of the time was just whatever we made. However, we didn't really get a choice of things that you could put into the lunchbox. So ultimately speaking, Mum would still choose what groceries she bought for us. And we would have to kind of Jenga it together in the lunchbox and assess how kind of hungry we were. And she was really sneaky about this shit too. She'd often get us to make our lunches after we ate dinner, so we were full. So we wouldn't overpack it, which meant by the time we got our lunches, we were fucking starving. I remember one time when I was really little, I don't know why, I ended up just putting like a handful of nuts in my lunchbox, and that's all I had the next day for lunch, and I was just sad. But the thing was, like, they still checked over our lunchboxes, and she never saw that as a concern. So it was just kind of like, that one slipped by. But yeah, I hate sandwiches, so sandwiches were always in there. Sandwiches were mandatory for us, and I hated them. I really don't like sandwiches. It's got to be a fucking good sandwich for me to like it. But kind of like, I don't know, bag temperature fucking melting jam and kind of like off ingredients because it's not refrigerated is just fucking delightful in summer, you know? There'd usually be like a piece of fruit. Maybe some kind of like snacky thing, like I think LCMs were a big thing back then, and we weren't allowed them. We were allowed a muesli bar. Complete misdirection there. But yeah, like we had those, and if we were really lucky, we got ones that actually had like some chocolate or some shit in them. But yeah, I don't know. Those were like childhood fucking lunches. Didn't really change much to high school. I did get hungrier in high school, and I definitely didn't have as much food as I needed. That was kind of like standard teenager sort of stuff. My brother just added more sandwiches, but I hated sandwiches. More sandwiches was the option, but I hated them. So he would have like 2 or 3 sandwiches plus all the usual, and he'd just stuff it into the lunchbox as best he could. Whereas I was just like, fuck this shit, I'd rather be hungry than eat a fucking sandwich. So the choices I made. I mean, you ask a teenager to, like, care for themselves, and there's only so much brain power that's going to go into it, like, while they don't have the logic. So we're not supposed to leave school, but if you can make it back before the bell rings and any whispers, it's handy when I have friends half a block away. Yeah, so Nick had something like that too, actually. The Wagstail happily snuggling with plush, rest head on a Pollex lap. No, I give you some pats so I can play with your ear, because it's soft and velvety. Nick had like a takeaway store just down the road from his school, and just like yours, they weren't allowed to leave. He grew up in a beach town, so he, like, on his lunch break, he'd fuck off and go into surf. He'd come back with an entire like drenched uniform, or he'd fuck off to get some fish and chips or whatever, or he'd rock up at his mate's restaurant. Like, one of his friends' family had a restaurant, so he'd rock up there and he'd just get like fed a decent big meal and stuff. Like, he wasn't not fed. It's just that Nick was a teenager and was hungry, so he went and got food. He was also extremely active teenager too, like all the sports. Like, I did a lot of sports as a teenager, not because I wanted to, but because it was like mandatory education stuff. But yeah, I wasn't hungry because of that. I was just hungry because I was growing. You know, standard teenager business. But I don't know. Pretty much once I kind of leveled out by the end of high school, I was pretty much good for food. Kind of had a good balance. And then everything kind of changed when the Fire Nation attacked. I'm sorry. I gotta stop with this shit. No, I don't know. I've had like a few times in my life where like my intake of food has kind of just changed randomly. Like, at the moment, I've gone down to like very, very small fucking meals that are next to nothing. But at the same time, I'll still have like the occasional day where out of the blue, I'm just so fucking hungry. I can't stop eating. I'll eat like 10 to 15 meals a day for like 1 or 2 days, and then I'll be good again for a while. But then other times I've gone through stages where, like, especially when I was doing a lot of the weightlifting, I ate a lot. I ate every 2 to 3 hours with my bodybuilding, and it was an effort. I hated eating. It was just all the time. I was either preparing a meal or I had prepared several meals and I had to go and eat the meal. By the time I finished the meal, I was working on the next meal, or I was trying to get enough water or whatever to compensate the meal. And yeah, it was fucking hell. I don't recommend, like, I generally don't recommend bodybuilding for people that aren't like interested in having their entire daily life taken over by all of it. Like, it's consuming. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of got into that out of just interest in weightlifting to begin with. It's just that's what I like doing, so that's why I ended up doing a lot of Ewan's wagging tail, happily snuggling with Bullbush. No. Happily receiving.
Yo, what? Doc, word on the wire is that there's some action brewing in Beacon Hill. I haven't been able to pinpoint the exact location, but you should be able to find them without much problem.
I shouldn't need to worry about Beacon Hill. I'm in race.
So I thought you might want in. Good luck. I'm out of here.
Happily receives pats while playing place of ears. No. Ears are very soft, Viking, especially after you jumped in the Mirthless Fountain and your fur's like extra like clean and soft. It's very nice. It's like really silky. Well, it's very attractive too growing up, but not the way you think. I was never into sports, but I was getting my daily exercises. Oh yeah, so basically you were in like physical good health kind of thing, is what you mean. I don't know. Like I said, at the time when I had like 2 hours sleep on average a night, and I went to gym like twice a day, and I was having to eat like massive amounts of food all the time, like I feel like that was when I was probably in like my best appearance. I think I should have looked like a completely fucking saturated fucking owl that was depressed with life and like about to die or fall off its perch, but I really actually kind of like fucking wore it well. But yeah, I don't know. I also understand too that, like, you know, life isn't like always going to be around the time of like when you're a teenager or a young adult. Like, a lot of things change a lot. I think that's the biggest thing I've found with my health issues and stuff, because none of that was something I had any fucking choice or control over or anything like that. Like, things have just changed regardless of if I've been wanting to or what I've been doing at the time, and I just have to kind of roll with it. So whatever happens, happens. It's like, okay, I'm not as fit as I used to be. I'm okay with that. I don't need to be. It was fun, And it would be great to like, you know, turn around and like lift some seriously heavy weights. I'd enjoy it, but I'd probably snap my wrists off at the moment if I did that. You know, and then I think about like all the upkeep and stuff that I had for like going to the gym and looking after my body outside of the gym, all the food in particular, I can't stand that. I do wonder how much different it would have all been if I had slept. That's my only curiosity, actually. I kind of wonder if I had been sleeping properly, getting good sleep, like just how different would it have been? Honestly, me doing a lot of things that you do tend to eat a lot. Like, I can eat 1 plate of food and I'm fine, but if I'm active, I can tend to eat 2 to 4, depending on what I'm doing. Yeah, it's a bit easier when you're more active because your body craves the energy. Like, apart from like over summer where I wasn't able to like exercise as much because I was already like dying through summer. Apart from that, like nothing else has changed. Like the food I eat is still the same. It's just gotten smaller because I can't finish it. So I just container it up differently. So I get like an extra meal or 2 out of it instead. So I'm still eating the same amount. It just takes me an extra day or 2 to get there, kind of thing. Exercise-wise, I'm slowly coming back into that as I'm getting the energy and stuff, which is kind of nice, but I'm never going to be going that fucking hard again. Oh, another cover opportunity.
Magazine. Have you heard of it? They're taking
I have not.
Everything around. Score big and the front sheet is yours.
Continue Snuggly Wolf plush waiting to happily. No. Some more Pat Spiken. Alright, I've got another cover. I don't know. I definitely feel like through my teens, the other thing too is when I was a teenager, like I was pretty shy, pretty quiet. Where does it want me to fucking go? Pick your thing. I don't need to go up the mountain. Why are you sending me up the mountain? Let's go back this way. An additional ad. Yeah, right, hold on. Actually, I don't know if I can click off this without a strike. Are you okay if I refund that later, Grim? Because if I click off the game, my VOD will get copyright striked because the music's still playing. I didn't disable that earlier. I've kind of forgot. Seems like Waxtail happily receiving more pats. No. The coffee time. See you after this ad break. Yeah, I might have to just refund you on that one later, Grim. Because, yeah, with... I guess I save it for another day. Yeah, with Need for Speed Underground 2, if the game music's running and the game is not on stream, my VOD gets copyright struck, which means I have to take it down. Which means that it's not there for anybody that may have like wanted to have seen it or watched more of it later. So that's the only problem with it. There's a couple of things here, but the one I'm going to is around the corner. It looks like Coffee Wagon to happily. I think Viken might want some coffee too, Grim. Yeah, I don't know. When I was a teenager, I was pretty quiet, pretty shy. Like, obviously I had friends and shit that I was like a complete nutjob with. But like for the most part, I was pretty well quietly reserved and stuff. So regardless of like all the activities and stuff that I did, and later on with like my bodybuilding and stuff that I chose to do, which is honestly such a weird thing. If you could just imagine like a quiet, geeky girl that just suddenly hits the gym and is just fucking like absolutely solid, like still femininely muscular and stuff, but still an absolute fucking unit of a woman, but still shy and reserved and stuff. Like, just slap a set of fucking glasses on me and we'd have some kind of like manga trope, I'm sure of it. It looks at Viken. Nope, if you want one, go make it yourself. That's so mean, Grim. Poor Viken. Poor Viken's asking for a mere morsel of a coffee. I didn't take you as one to reject that, Grim. Oh man, I'm trying to think of like I think it's a Annie movie or something. I don't think I've watched that one, but there's like a reference in it or in Futurama where it's like, spare some oil, sir. And yeah, Bender's just like a jackass about it. I don't like to share my coffee. You don't have to share your coffee. I was just saying you could make a second cup or like pour some in the bowl or something. Whoop, there we go. I made the corner eventually, that's the main thing. There's says a Grim with sad eyes. So I can tell. Oh no, no, the big eyes are coming out. The adorableness has been magnified. I can't handle it, Grim. How can you do this to Viking? I'm like patting him as soothingly as possible, but the eyes, like, goddamn, man, it's borderline cruelty. Nah. I don't know. Sorry. Viking, I can tell you what, you have missed some weird shit earlier tonight. Your wolfy ears have probably been saved from some hardcore bullshit. Yeah, this has definitely been a stream where I probably should have had a filter on. It's a happy receiving pats. No, look at him, Grim. How can you do this to Viking? How could you do that to a fellow coffee lover? How dare you? Fucking appalling. Alright, let me get back in here. I was gonna go up there and then I saw the bulliards and I'm like, I guess I can't. What's this place? Convenience store. Little sprint. I'm actually getting quite a lot of races done. I'm supposed to be doing some street races, but I don't really mind because I need to unlock some stuff so that I can get gear. Plus, if I happen to unlock another car and it's faster, then you know it's a win-win. It receives pads. I also like how some of these cars come in, like that two-toned car. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to have done in that race differently. Get out of the way, mate. But the two-tone car, when you see that in the race, you're supposed to be able to win that paint job. I don't know if you've got to beat it by like a certain amount of style points or something to be able to get it. But I do remember it, because I had that on one of my cars. I had two-tone paint job on one of them. Flips the table behind you and goes to make some coffee, pours it into a bowl and serves it Viking. I think the flipping of the table was a little unnecessary. The collision physics sent it absolutely flying. It's like me when I'm like trying to take a corner like that. Oh man. I actually, I think Triumph is the one with the table flipper mode, and I think it's the greatest thing ever. It's got so much fucking expression in it, and it's just like, it's a table getting, like, throwing itself, honestly. Table flip is the best emotion that's come out of, like, the last, like, 10, 20 years that I don't think has ever necessarily existed beforehand, conversationally, but it's a good thing it does, because it's its own full, like, range of expression, and I love it. Wagstail happily smiling, drinks coffee fully. Yeah, I wouldn't leave any of that behind just in case Grim does something weird. Never know. Grim might, like, get salty, and then, therefore, coffee ends up salty. Actually, Grim, what is your fucking thoughts on? Do you remember when there was, like, there's always crazes with coffee, right? So do you remember when there was a stage where people were, like, adding butter and salt and all sorts of shit to coffee? Like, what the fuck were you thinking at that time about everybody doing that? Or did you not know? Because, like, I don't know how obscure it was. Like, I think I found out about it a little late to the whole thing. But yeah, butter coffee just didn't sound nice. Olive oil didn't sound nice. Salt was a bit like, what the fuck? Sorry, say it again. When the craze of, like, there's always a craze involving, like, fucking around with coffee and making it different and stuff. But I was curious what you thought back when, like, adding salt or butter or oil or whatever to coffee to change it. I was curious if you knew about them and what you kind of thought about it, because yeah, that tilts head wagging tail in confusion. What about the coffee or the people adding stuff to it, Viking? Left paw for about the coffee, right paw for about the people adding shit to things, because that'll be a bit easier for you to answer. Yeah, I don't know. Salt in coffee sounds like a bit of a weird one. Butter in coffee just sounds nasty. I was head wagging, happily lifting right paw. So about the adding shit to coffee. Alright, so yeah, there was this big craze. Obviously, like I said, there is always a craze around coffee. But there was a particular craze where people were like trying to enhance coffee and improve it. And at one point they were like, oh, you can absorb coffee better if you add butter to it. Like, your body can process whatever's in it better and absorb it better and stuff. So if you add, like, a chunk of butter to it, it will, it will make it better for that kind of thing, like absorption. Salt was to change the flavor and reduce the bitterness of like people that had kind of like burnt their grounds in their pour. But it was kind of like not really noticed as that. People just making their coffee salty. The olive oil, I don't know what the fuck that one's about, but I think it's the same kind of vein as the butter coffee kind of thing. But either way, there was like this whole stage where people went through like adding shits to coffee to like change its flavor profile and all sorts of shit. I thought each to their own kind. Yeah, I could see that. I'm just, I'm a little bit surprised that you weren't a little bit more outraged, but I know how much of a meh you are kind of about a lot of things, so that doesn't surprise me. But I just thought because it was related to coffee and how much like coffee is such a massive part of your life that it could have been like a what the fuck. I see you, Mathless. I see you fucking coming to defense. What are your thoughts on that whole coffee shit? I don't know if you heard any of it. I'll go back for you if you need to. That's a shakes head. That's a right to left in disbelief wakes up. I don't know if I can. I actually don't know if I'm facing the right way. There we go. Yeah, no, the fucking shit that people did with coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I have no opinion. That's right. I keep forgetting you don't drink coffee. I'm sorry. I kind of just... I naturally just assume everybody just drinks coffee on some degree kind of thing. It's never personal. I'll probably always forget that one. But yeah, I don't know. I was really interested in the science behind the absorption of butter in coffee. And like, obviously it's not going to taste good. But I get the idea. Like, instead of adding milk, you're adding still dairy in some format. It's just that it's like, it's a thicker kind of oilier kind of method kind of thing. But then actually looking into like the science and stuff of like the delivery system of how like your body absorbs it and stuff, I'm like, that kind of makes sense in a way. I don't know how true it was, I can't remember, but I remember like basic things like, you know, the difference between say a Mars bar and a banana having the same amount of sugar in them, except that your body can process the banana better because of the type of like glucose and other shit that's in it that allows it to like break down more naturally in your gut, as opposed to like a Mars bar that like breaks down and immediately causes like an insulin response and stuff. Like, I've done a lot of research into like low GI and all sorts of fucking methods of food. If you guys can't actually tell that, there's a lot of time I've spent learning about food as part of bodybuilding at one point in my life. And a lot of it hasn't changed too much. I think I'm on my last lap. I just don't know if I've gone over the line anytime soon. There's also people trying to smoke coffee beans. Yeah, I've seen that too. Smoked coffee beans. I thought that was cool. I tried a bit and it doesn't work. Depends how you're smoking it too. So, however, I did know that you can get coffee flavored butter. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Fuck off, taxi. I'm up to here with you and your fucking taxis. I swear, game. Fucking hell. I'll be doing this race again because taxi. Fucking hell. I'm not even drunk. You know, usually when people scream taxi, it's you drunk. Nah, I'm just mad at taxi. Was it how did you know get coffee flavored butter? Yeah, no, I just read that. Oh my god. Yeah, so I think like the latest ones I've been seeing, because I actually do watch a fair bit of stuff related to coffee because I know Grim. So I kind of like keep up on a little bit of this stuff just for like conversational interests and stuff. But yeah, there's times where like there's a whole bunch of new magnetic shit that people playing with now. So when you make your coffee, you can now use like 20 different individual parts and get them dirty while you're making your coffee that you have to now clean afterwards to make the same cup of coffee, except you wet the beans or something, I think, when they're getting ground. Or there's other ones. One of the ones I don't mind the idea of, and I will go with, I don't know if I came first then or not. Maybe I won. I'm not sure. One that I don't mind the concept of is like the orange slice, like the orange ring that sometimes people put in the top of what do you call it, the whatever the fuck the thing is that the coffee draws to. I can't remember at the moment, but anyway, like I don't like oranges, so I'm not going to try that, but I think it's an interesting concept. Like a lot of people put like proper chocolate and stuff. Those are the, I don't know about you guys, but they are the most singularly stressful fucking videos to watch. Is when somebody puts like a little bar of chocolate on top of a cup and does the pour into like the little like chocolate bit, and the chocolate bit is like on the borderline of overflowing the entire fucking time. Like, it is so fucking stressful. And then it finally breaks through because the heat's made it melt. And then you can finally sigh of relief and then realize that that's going to be one damn thick mochaccino. Like, goddamn. Because that's going to be rich as fuck. Like, in Australia, like, we don't really do chocolate in chocolate stuff. Like, if you want a mochaccino, it's going to be like a instant hot chocolate powder kind of mixture thing, which is like cocoa, sugar, something else. I don't know. Probably something addictive. And then basically you just add like a little bit of like hot water to that to kind of like melt it up until it's no longer grainy. And then you add that shit into your coffee, and that's supposed to be what you get a mochaccino from in most places. And it's shit. It's genuinely shit. And then you get like a place that actually does like real chocolate. Like you find somewhere that's like an international coffee shop, kind of like chocolate place, Ross. And my fucking god, are those coffees rich. They are like so damn rich because like Australian chocolate is like heavily coated in like wax and shit. A lot of our food is like apples and all sorts of stuff is coated in wax to protect it from kind of like our elements and from like ripening too quickly. And in the case of chocolate, is melting. I don't know how wax kind of helps with that, but apparently it does. And so yeah, we end up with like really kind of waxy chocolates and stuff. So when they actually use like real international chocolates in food and drink, it is damn rich. It's like 3 times the chocolate quantity that you would normally get, because at least like 2/3 of whatever chocolate bar you were previously eating had wax in it. Imagine that. It's like, man, I'm so hungry for chocolate. Just goes and eats a candle. I shouldn't joke about that. Somebody's gonna go do it. There's a thing about the art of making coffee where people take time of spacing and grind up coffee beans by using needles. It's supposed to make it smoother. Yeah, so I've seen that with the needles too. That's part of what I'm talking about with like the 100 bits and pieces of items that people... Sorry, let me start again. So basically when people are making coffees nowadays, there's like a billion little bits of like magnetic devices that they use to make it. But the way I see it is they basically picked up like 50 different items and got each one slightly dirty that now needs to be washed for 1 cup of coffee. But it's fun apparently because everything kind of like magnetically clicks together. And that's a thing. I don't know. I'm mildly ripping on it just because I'm kind of sick of seeing the finesse of luxury coffee making, is I think what it's called. When it's like, just make a fucking cup of coffee. Like, some instant shit will do. Like, some water, some of that instant shit, a bit of sugar maybe, and, I don't know, milk if you feel like it. Good enough. It's like, if you really want to go get fancy, just like, I don't know, grind up some beans, shove that in a thing, throw some water through it, and you're done. Fancy coffee. I'm sorry, I'm a very fucking simple lady. I am not impressed by like a lot of like high-end shit. That's just not me. I would rather the simple life as opposed to like, I don't know, it's probably very enjoyable for a lot of people to watch. I'll say that, but I just can't stand it. It's tedious. The same thing, but it's done by hand, not by magnetic stuff. Yeah. You mean like where they've got like the little hand grinder thing and stuff? Because I've seen those too. I don't mind like the hand grinders. That's actually quite practical for not having your coffee beans expire and taste stale and shit. Because you're only getting out the sample size that you require for that particular coffee, and it's not mixing with any dregs of shit that's still in like the grinder. So I don't mind those. Those are good. Like, I can understand if you're also trying to like maximize the life of the beans and shit. I'm okay with that shit too. Like, there's a lot of like ways to go about that. I love my instant coffee. Yeah, look, I think we ran out of instant coffee the other week, and I went to make a coffee, and I was just sad. Like, we had pod coffee. Nick likes pod coffee, and I don't mind it, but it is really, really hard on my stomach. So I try to avoid it when I can. And that was just one case where I'm like, well, shit, this is going to do a number on my guts. And I just sucked it up and had the coffee. I think I ended up like semi-hyper afterwards because it was a little bit too strong for what I wanted at the time. But in saying that, like, if I want a strong coffee, strong